My name's Karl Dyga and this is Station Farm. I am probably about the 5th generation, so they've been here since about the 1800s. It's a real beautiful area to work in, given all the landscape.
I'm Rob Whitcombe. We're here on Shotwick Heath. The farm is actually Canada Farm, which is owned by Natural England. It's a 100% organic farm, organic stock, with Natural England approaching us, and they wanted to set up a traditional breed of cattle. We decided to invest in a herd of North Devon cattle. We needed to go 100% organic on the farm to keep it as an organic holding, trying to farm in a traditional way.
In this environment, you kind of have to adapt to the environment as well. So there are times during the farm's history when it would have been underwater a lot of the times of the year, and then it was all drained and the water was all pumped off, and now the water's kind of coming back up again, so you kind of adapt to how the conditions are at the time. And I suppose it's part of the traditional kind of landscape of the Somerset levels. You've got your drainage reens with no fence along them, so it's kind of like a wet fence, as they call it, or a wet boundary. And that drainage reen acts as a corridor for all the aquatic water life that's in the ditch, so they can move to different parts of the landscape. And yeah, going back to the kind of traditional view of the landscape, is a typical scene would be a single gate with 2 posts either side and what you call a wing fence either side of the gate, and then you may have a few willow trees that have been pollarded, so they're off on a crown at the top, yeah, with some new shoots coming out of them just along the waterways, and that's kind of your idyllic Somerset Levels landscape.
Farming the levels is quite difficult. It's more difficult than a lot of people realise, because you have small fields, wet land, extremes of weather, i.e. flooding, as we saw last year. That can be the difficult side of things, but when you have a dry year, you also, you always have plenty of grass for the cattle and livestock. So it swings and roundabouts, really.
Pigs that we've got here are Iron Age pigs, and an Iron Age pig is a wild boar crossed with a Tamworth pig. The actual ones that we've got here, we've had them since about 2005. The piglets that we produce on the farm, we keep them till they're 9 weeks old, and that's the time then when you can be weaned off from their mum, and then we'll sell them then. So normally we'll advertise them either in the local farming paper or just by word of mouth, and we put a sign up on the road saying that we've got pigs for sale. The produce that we produce on the farm, we don't grow any crops or anything, we just graze animals on permanent pasture because that suits us better, because I haven't got the machinery for cropping or anything like that.
Spring's always nice because you've got the stock in the winter yards, and then you're looking towards turning them out into the fields again. And also, we do beef and sheep. The sheep are lambing, the cows are calving this new life, and it's the whole season starts over again. It's always a nice time of year.
As I was growing up, it was just a peat farm. So we excavated peat and then dried it, bagged it and sold it. My great-great-grandfather was here farming, and at the time then he had a lot of chickens, and he also milked cows as well. And then during that period of time before the Second World War was when peat farming really took off, I suppose, and there was more money in peat, so we kind of diversified into turf digging at the time when everything was dug by hand. So obviously there was no mechanisation, and the railway was just beyond the farm over there as well. So that was a good way of taking it off to the different markets where it was sold.
The work's a lot different now. We use machines as opposed to where it was manual labour making the fodder, the hay. Now we use machines, and we make all big round bales now. In his day it would have been loose hay, and then obviously moved on to the small bales. But now, there aren't as many people involved with farming, so therefore we've had to mechanise and, make it easier so less people can do what they have to do.